Two of our area's leading companies, Weyerhaeuser and Cadman, recently announced plans to site a new gravel operation here, just east of North Bend. Weyerhaeuser owns the land. Cadman, the East Side's largest supplier of rock building materials, will operate the mine. The proposal is attracting a lot of public interest. Not surprisingly, some neighbors are legitimately concerned that the gravel operation could bring traffic, noise, and dust to their community, and they worry about how their views and local water supply might be affected.
There's a whole mountain that's going to be taken away eventually. It's Grouse Ridge, which a lot of houses, the way they are very private setting, you can see the Grouse Ridge, and it's really pretty. It's a treed area, and eventually you're going to be seeing just a hole.
And my understanding, by reading what I've read, that this will interfere and contaminate the ground supply water in the aquifer for North Bend. That's a primary concern of mine.
There's got to be, if it's a Weyerhaeuser association with Cadman and Weyerhaeuser property, I know they have hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions of acres, they should be able to locate something like that completely away from any sort of city.
With people feeling those kinds of concerns, it may be surprising to learn that some leaders in the conservation, recreation, and environmental movements are supporting the gravel proposal. So just what is this proposal that's drawing so much attention and such differing views? Who has to approve it? And how can interested people become involved? And why are people who care deeply about protecting the Middle Fork Valley and I-90 viewscapes supporting it? Mountains to Sound felt it was imperative that a sophisticated mine plan be devised that would ensure maximum environmental and view corridor protection.
And so we are supporting the gravel mine as it is laid out in an agreement with a whole series of plans for the development of the mine that we think will make it nearly invisible, will not have impacts on the water supply, and in the end all of that mining territory, once it's mined out, will be donated to the public, reforested, revegetated, and returned to become permanent forest. And we could not, given the pressures in this corridor, we thought that was a remarkably beneficial package for the public.
I'm in the lower site, in the old gravel pit. Directly behind me to the north, above this steep ridge, and the trees that are on the top, is the closest residential area. They're about a quarter mile away. At this point, they can't see me, and I can't see them. As a reference point, I'm located where the yellow dot is on the map. In front of me is where the processing would be. Behind me is a residential area to the north, a quarter mile away, and the steep slope with the trees on it is directly behind me. The conditions as they exist here today, with the hillside and the trees, eliminate any visual opportunity that the neighborhood may have to see this site. The hillside itself helps with noise as well. The plan calls for lowering where I am relative to the neighborhood an additional 50 feet. That's going to add more of this hillside. That will eliminate any of the visual opportunity that that neighborhood has to see what's going on. And the additional hillside is going to reduce significantly the noise generated from the facility. We feel we've done a very good plan, and we will continue to refine it with input from the public and with input from technical studies and reports as they become available. And this will be an ongoing process that will continue for months to come.
We knew that for this operation in this sensitive area to be a success, we were going to have to put a lot of focus in two areas. First of all, we're going to have the sensitive plan, which we think we've accomplished. And secondly, we would have to partner with a company who has the permitting and environmental experience and the financial and technical depth to do a superior job. After some research, we specifically sought out Cadman as one of the very few candidates in this region who we felt would be able to pull that off, and we're confident that they can.
Cadman has been in business in East King County since the early 1930s. It's still based here in Redmond, where it began as a family-run company. Company officials say gravel mining, like a lot of other industries, is done a lot differently than it was just a few years ago. Standards are much higher, and technological innovation has helped reduce environmental impacts.
Cadman's got 8 operations here in the Pacific Northwest, and we've got steps in each one of those operations to help mitigate noise and other impacts from our operations to our neighbors.
At North Bend, Cadman will incorporate a variety of mitigation features which are in place at its other Puget Sound operations, such as water trucks to control dust on mine site roadways, water sprays to cut dust produced by rock crushers, and earthen berms designed to reduce noise generated by gravel operations.
Here in Redmond, we have a small 15-foot tall berm, and I'm just standing on the other side of it from where our rock crusher and front end loader are working. And you can see just that small height has made a significant difference in quieting the noise that our operations generate. When we're at Grouse Ridge, we're proposing much taller berms, which will have an even bigger impact on bringing quiet the sounds that our plants generate.
The mining plan calls for gravel to move from the upper site at Grouse Ridge to the lower site by way of a conveyor belt. The belt would be almost entirely hidden by trees, and it would generate virtually no noise.
We're standing right now next to a 36-inch conveyor, and as you can hear, we're having this conversation and barely hearing it. I mean, it's like standing or being on a chairlift at the pass. The groundwater is another concern. And we are 100% committed to having no impact on the groundwater, whether it be the shallow aquifer or the deep aquifer. And to that end, we've hired a hydrogeologist to come out to develop an ongoing monitoring plan so that we have current scientific information that allows us to assure the community that we'll have no impact on that aquifer.